My name is Chris Valentine. I work with South by Southwest. I'm the producer of the South by Southwest Accelerator and Startup Village programming. We deal with really early stage companies. Less than $5 million funding have to have launched within 1 year of the product service of the event date. But I almost want to think of it like over the 7 years. So when we're talking about 7 years of South by Southwest Accelerator, because this is the 7th year, we're looking at the companies received or secured $1.78 billion in funding. 50% have received funding and 12% have received some sort of, have been acquired. And so you're talking about that, and we're talking about like Siri was involved, Hipmunk, Wildflower, Tango. I mean, some incredible companies who are involved. And I think what you see is that, and we actually track this data, and what we traditionally see is you don't see it the first year, but it's usually 2 or 3 years in, and then you start to see the spike. And I actually do research during the summer to kind of track these companies, because obviously it's in our interest to make sure that we're getting the right companies. And this is a way that we could do it. And we're not a funder, but we do want to know what the companies are doing that have been involved. And I think through time, that's how we see that. So it's more of in the general types of things. But one of the categories we had last year was wearable, and wearable is so early, and it's been around for a long time, but really kind of hit the general consciousness of society with Google Glass and now the Apple Watch and different things that have kind of come last year. Well, that's going to take a few years. Some of the companies that we had last year, we knew that in 2 or 3 years they would be doing something really interesting, but it was going to take a little bit longer, because now you're dealing with companies that are having a hardware type of play, and it's not something you can get to market in 6 months. I think the Apple Watch just came out, and so I think you'll probably start to see those innovations related to that will probably happen over the next, say 3 to 6 months, and I think this time next year, you'll really see it kind of impact, you'll see more of a greater impact, because I think what's happening is now that this technology is out, people are going to find ways where they feel like, because Apple is such a strong player in the community, on how do they work with Apple and try to create that technology to support that platform. So we're seeing like 2 overarching trends when we talk about the South by Southwest Accelerator event. I think the first one is the globalization of the startup ecosystem. We're seeing more and more companies from around the globe participate in this event, where we literally have almost a quarter of the companies who are presenting are going to be from outside the US. The second overarching trend is really going to be focusing on the innovation and efficiencies. And so basically you're talking about kind of the second tier or second round of companies who are coming in, focusing on things like enterprise, big data, health, wearable. And so we've had that first kind of iteration of companies come through in previous years, and now you're seeing second stage companies coming through, and they're offering kind of a greater level of technology they're offering to the market. To the kind of the trends point, we're seeing things, a lot more things tied into sensors, a lot more things tied into drones, a lot more things tied into things where it's kind of Internet of Things and those types of things within those categories. And that's the part that's exciting, because those are kind of overarching trends that I think you're seeing at South by Southwest that are kind of more of a reflection of happening in the category as well.